of Kazakhstan, who will share the opinion of independent ecological organizations about benefits for the population and the economy of Kazakhstan on coal phase out. Good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me. This was a very short notice about this event, and we made a request that we can share our independent opinion, independent from the government, other CSOs and NGOs. In this report, I will show you another perspective, not economic, not energy related, not technology related, but ecological. I mean, why the Paris Agreement was adopted and why the countries undertake commitments and so on. So this statement was submitted to the president more than a year ago, where we stated the commitments of Kazakhstan and the state policy is a reception of the global community, because our commitments are insignificant to address the climate change, and our commitments are long-term. After 2030, 2040, it's like government is withdrawing its liability and putting it on the burden of the future generations and future government. And there is abstract from this report. We have taken the GIZ in-depth study for designing the long-term carbon neutrality strategy. And you know how Germans can work. So it took them 18 months to make a very detailed report. And they explain that for Kazakhstan, phasing out coal, it's a doable thing. And as many countries, because of political conflicts and due to their climate commissions, have 2-3 years for transition, nothing prevents Kazakhstan from having this energy transition without any pains by 2030. And any benefit for health would outweigh the energy transition costs. And you can see the details of this report by GIZ. Also, GIZ experts made estimates of the net benefits if we phase out coal, and the coal strategy would harm the economy of Kazakhstan. And another bullet point is development of small-scale renewables for Kazakhstan, which is under-supported. For instance, I live in a small village in Kazakhstan, and I would like to install the rooftop solar panels, and I cannot do it. I cannot afford, because it's too expensive. And what previous speaker said, support of individuals is missing in Kazakhstan. There is no support for individuals in Kazakhstan. UK has made a decision to fully shut down the new coal, to fully prohibit the new coal mines. And the coal extraction supported our economy over 140 years. And still they think about future, creating new and cleaner energy system, safer, that would protect taxpayers and create new jobs. And I brought a lot of examples here. In Germany, many people said that Germany reopened their power plants, and they say that we had a turning point, and we're going to close the coal-fired power plants, brown coal. And G7 countries have made an agreement on full termination of coal by 2035. You don't see smoke, but these particles, radiation, and plastic, it's everywhere. And we breathe it, we inhale it, And in Kazakhstan, more than 8,000 premature deaths per year. And they even make a breakdown, ischemic disease of heart. This is for adults only, without accounting for children. And you see Astana, Almaty, Kamenogorsk, Temirtau exceeding the standards of pollution by the international standards. And of course, when somebody says we need to think about people, we need to have clear estimates, I think it's all about business. Just imagine Almaty residents, they pay monthly around 1 billion tenge per month to the coal providers. And for this money, unlikely that anybody would give away this income and allow in the solar power plants and so on. So they say nobody's going to say, wait for a few years, we're going to phase out. It's not about pleasing the government or the ministry, who cannot do anything against these big owners. And there are a few people who can affect the laws, conventions, agreements, or a program is adopted, but these people will take some of the relevant things out, and it will be useless step. This is Potsdam study on climate, the climate change, water cycles, biodiversity losses related to the disturbance of the natural processes that support life. So we used to have 3 of natural processes. Now we have 7 out of 9: biodiversity, forest, soil, water cycle, climate are being disturbed, and we still continue, even though we have the Paris Agreement. Look at these references, and this is a key reason. This green is the limits that we should not exceed, and those were estimated in numbers. So not just narrative, but how much we exceed, in which parameters, and this was followed by the document life within the safe limits. So having 9 billion people living in the Earth after a few years, how well we can live in a safe and decent life. And they say, yes, it's possible, but we need to reduce our, look here, one of the factors, global consumption and production of energy exceeds the limits that are safe more than 10 times. And in Kazakhstan, we are ranking among few exceeding the safe parameters, like, and we instead say that we need to increase the capacity, produce more generation, build new power plants and nuclear power plants, and mining takes a consumption equal to the whole city of Karaganda. People may live, and Lancet made estimates on the limits per every individual, like 10 square meters per person, 1,500 kilometers per year of travel. They made calculations on the food, nutrition, so everything that makes a person healthy and safe without undermining the fundamentals of the nature and life. And when I was listening to the president's speech in COP29, Kazakhstan was said to have less than 1% of emissions. Climate is not supported by emissions. It is biotical circulation. And Kazakhstan is one of the countries which ruins all this. So we do everything to disturb this balance of climate and nature. You can see the implications of the Aral Sea. This is the well-being on the Caspian. This is Beluga. fish in Caspian, and you can see degradation of ecosystem in the Caspian just down to zero. And how much is the cost of the black caviar, which originates from the Caspian Sea? McKinsey stated that by 2030, business as usual, deficit will be 1.9 billion cubic centimeters, with the new ecological catastrophe similar to the Aral Sea disaster. So there is no way to save Balkhar, which takes an area more than Germany. It will turn into the new desert in the center of Eurasia. Like having your suffering liver would destroy your health. Ecosystem is an integral system, and we should not be focused too much on engender or energy efficiency or energy saving. It's about saving the nature. The law was adopted in European Union on restoration of nature, and they set clear objectives, like removes the dams and on the river, which are like clots in the flow of the river. So this is an implication for the flooding, because dams may not or dikes may not affect the flooding or some other natural catastrophe. So it's a system that makes them to make decisions that may adversely impact the nature in Kazakhstan. I was in 1991 in the State Committee for Nature Protection, and I'm still around this agenda. And restoration of the nature in Kazakhstan. So it's about, it's not about garbage disposal for the ministry, but the job of the ministry is to restore the nature. And for instance, in the ministry, there is no restoration of oil lakes and rivers. It's about consumption, rational use of water resources. So it's more on a consumer side rather than on recovery. So two posters, one in Pavlodar and so stop planting forests, like just start recovering the natural forest ecosystems. We plant trees and this destroys the nature more, because it is nature that having biotic microorganisms, shrubs, birds to restore. And stop planting trees, stop planting like canes, because they make it even worse. So, as I said, Kazakhstan should be serious about upcoming changes, because the climate change would severely affect. We don't have a strong regulator like an ocean, and we're dependent on other countries because we're downstream and we have a very harsh continental climate. So we need to find technology and solutions that would, without any reference to the Biodiversity Convention, Forest Convention, or Paris Convention, to go our own way. It's called different in different countries, like Great Water Revolution in India or in Ethiopia, before and after. So this is how they go in parallel. So people came to such understanding. Or in Slovakia, they announced the new water paradigm as the best way to address the climate change, not the water issue, but the climate issue, because restoration of water and soil would help support biodiversity and climate in the local standard. There is a YouTube video from the Minister of Slovakia, and we see a decline in yield. We see a lot of flooding in Kazakhstan because we're disturbing the local water cycles or the features of Earth to support climate. You see, very simple engineering works can help retain the water and recover the soil fertility, because soil is like a sponge, can accumulate the water and keep it. So these are the links to this book. I presented it to the minister, Akims, but it's more beneficial and profitable for them to build roads, water reservoirs, dams and dikes. And I think, regardless of this, we have to follow this movement. People in Chuvashia, we sent people to a field mission, and people used to collect stones for construction, and by collecting stones, they created around 8 water bodies, and the soil can retain water and support yields, productivity better than we use drip irrigation, sprinklers, or water canals. So this technology should be chosen. These are very cheap. It costs 50 kopek per hectare. So I urge everyone, Akimats, companies, ministries, to start doing this, because time flies and the climate change would grow like an avalanche. And this decade we would have processes which would be difficult to manage. We don't have 2060, 2050 if we do not do